Okay, so I'm now in the back seat, and what I would like, let me just close the door so you don't hear the outside noise. Yeah, that's right. So in the back of this Kia Niro, I find it very spacious. So the driver's seat is actually in my position, so as you can see, it's comfortable. I like how the chair is slightly raised so you can put your feet underneath, and also you have nice space. Slight raised inclination on the transmission hump, but not big enough that it would actually be a problem like in other cars. So it's nearly flat. But yes, the middle seat actually ideally is good for 2 adults, and 3 kids can easily sit in the back. I always love nowadays, most car manufacturers, they have this nice, you know, like they realize people only want to sit 2 in the back, and because of this you now have this option where you put your cup a bit small, I would say, for coffee. That is, maybe it's just designed for kids and their little small milk bottles and stuff. But no, it's pretty good, very spacious, good, how would you say, space above my head. So even if I was a tall person, I would have no issues sitting here in the back, and pretty good. And I like with this Kia Niro, it has a bit of a tint in the back, so the good thing about it that at least you do when the UK does have some sunshine, you have a bit of shade. Okay, I think that kind of covers the back, nothing else. Electric windows, you have a little small hole to put a bottle of water, nothing too special. I'm a bit disappointed, maybe the model that I have here doesn't have air vents in the back, and I'm not asking for them to, you know, my passengers to control the air vent, but come on, at least put some air vent. So now you have to be at the mercy of the driver, and if this driver doesn't like to have cold AC, which I don't like most of the time, then the people in the back are suffering. So that's the only gripe I have. But other than that, I really like how would you say it, how they've designed. You don't think this car has that much space when you actually see it from the outside, but it's very nice and spacious. Now I know why a lot of Uber drivers actually use this, because they can take passengers and not have any issues with space. Okay, now that we've covered the back, let's jump to the front. So now I'm in the front of the car. This is where I think where the Kia really excel compared to other cars. Now I've been taking this car on long trips, you know, 3 hours up north, and I really don't feel any discomfort. I like how the way the car kind of hugs me. I wish it had lumbar support, don't get me wrong. It's some, at least with the other Citroen that I had, the other electric car, that had the lumbar support. But here, one thing I like about it, because I like when I go on road trips to have goodies. So I have my little sweets, and the space in here actually is amazing. I can have 3 coffees in here comfortably, 2 big mugs. I can put a small bottle of water. I have all this huge space underneath, and basically this is, I think, the biggest selling point about this car is the fact that for cubby holes and space is great. So if you have a young family, there's no issues of putting your phone there, holding the kids' toys or whatever. It's really good. Glove compartment, it's okay, it's not as deep as other cars, but it does the job, so that's okay. Nice layout and small screen for my liking. Maybe now I've seen all this new Kia and it looks amazing, so they realize people love technology. This is why people were going for Teslas when it came to the whole screen. But anyway, this does a job. The Android Auto works like a charm. It doesn't have any issues. I've been impressed with it. I like, now it took me a while to get used to all these buttons on the steering wheel. I feel it's a bit too much because I'm trying to guess what's going on. But if I was to make it as a simple layout, on my left is my music control and changing my sound. On my right is my cruise control and a few other kind of radar, because the car comes with dynamic radar cruise control, which is good for long trips. I just set it at the national speed and it just moves. Now, and the thing I didn't like about it with the Citroen, even though it had some issues, it had that new radar, so it kind of would pick up when the road speed changes. So I'm just using my Google Maps to tell me, am I doing 70 here or am I doing 60? Whereas the Citroen, especially when there's a lot of roadworks here in the UK, then the speed limit would change from 70 to 50. The Citroen was smart enough to actually pick that up. Kia, maybe because the fact this is the older model, it didn't. However, the cool thing I like about this Kia is the fact that when I charge this car, it's actually from the front. I mean, no matter how much you like reversing and playing how good I can park my car, I just love the fact I roll up to a charging point, plug it in, and go. So for me, that's been I think the biggest plus for this car. Also, I'll talk about it when I start driving it. I love the range on this car. And when I'm charging at public places, I actually have chats with other Kia owners, and people are telling me the new Kia doesn't have as much cubby space. So I mean, even after all the space I have in here, I also have a deep kind of, how would you say, and cubby hole down here, which is ideal. So I think for me, I do like it. It's only good to be shared by one. The driver can only use it. If a passenger was to come using this armrest, forget it. So I think that's it. Right, let's take this car and let's see that I forget. Ooh, good thing I checked. I actually left a spare pair of glasses in here because I always like to have emergency backup. Okay, I think that's it for now. Nothing else to mention. Yes, you have a cubby hole for the bottle of water there. All good. So if you are really going for a long trip and you want to have lots of water, that covers you. It has the auto wing mirror, so when you shut your car, it automatically closes. And you can lock the car from here, but I love the fact that when I just put it in drive, it locks the car, or if I put it back in park, it unlocks. So pretty cool feature. Alright, let's take this bad boy for a spin. Okay, let's take this car for a spin. First of all, reverse, nice. Oh yeah, I did forget to mention earlier, the reverse camera on this is actually pretty good, and I get to see what I need to see. I wish it had, how would you say, front sensors. It has reverse sensors, which is good in case you do miss out. But yes, I think that Citroen kind of spoiled me when it came to having all these toys. But where the Kia really trumps the Citroen is the range. So when you put this on charge, if it says I'm gonna do 230 miles or 260 miles, it will do that exactly. I've tested out. I've driven on a one charge from Milton Keynes all the way to Manchester, and I didn't even need to charge it unless I wanted to come all the way back. So for me, hands down, Kia, you really, even back then, so this car is a 2022, the old shape, the new one. So one day I was charging, and I might go to that charging spot now, maybe, or I might do that later tonight. Yes, it's one of those. It's because it's a main one in Milton Keynes, and it's actually pretty fast charging. So first of all, I'll give another shout out to the company I'm renting out. I'm not being paid or sponsored, but I really have enjoyed using their services for the last couple of months. So shout out to Elmo. And little gripe I have, because I found out recently, so when people buy new cars, so Polestar or a Kia, they get this card given, so they get to, I think, some kind of agreement, because they're trying to push this whole EV and everything. Anyway, it turns out that while I'm at a charging station paying the 77p, 77.4 BP, whatever, these guys, certain chargers, they get to pay 31p. I mean, you might as well charge at home at this rate. It's really impressive when I think about it, that they get to, how would you say, enjoy that kind of, how would you say, cheap electricity whilst also getting the range. Anyway, back to this new Kia EV6. So it turns out that it can do easily 400 miles, okay? And I'm like, wow, that's like, you're beating Tesla here. Hyundai is also claiming that. So, and actually, I need to be careful, because some people say that it might just be kilometers, and it turns out to be just 250 miles. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes down to it, okay, it looks like, man, the UK, when it comes to roadworks, they really know how to do roadworks. Everywhere you go, it's like, no warning, at least give us a sign. Looks like I need to do a U-turn here. It's a joke sometimes when you think about it. Yeah, but anyway, so what Kia have done now with their new EV6, and also what they've done, is that they say, you know what, we're winning the EV market, this electric vehicle market. We're winning people's minds in regards to, like, I need a car that's functional, I need a car that does my long range. And even if you think about it, like a friend of mine was telling me, he said, And some people, they go to dealership, and there's this one sales guy who actually told him this little sales tip he does. He said, they come to me, I want a car that does 400 miles. And he sits them down and he shows them a map of the UK. He goes, let's see how many miles 400 miles is. And he said, where will that take you? Do you have anyone in Edinburgh? You live in London? No, but I just want. And then they realize, actually, most, EV customers, they don't need to do 400 miles. They just need a car just to drive in their local city, once in a while take a trip to London or either to a nearby town. That's all they want. They don't want any more than that, if you catch my drift. So why are they going to look for a car that has over 400 miles? Anyway, back to the Kia, and I think how they're winning the hearts and minds. They said, listen here, we've won the mind of people when it comes to functional car that does what it says on the tin. However, let us start making them look much more sexier. And that's why the EV6 looks much more funkier than its the previous car. But at the same time, it's really put some pressure on Tesla to up their game. And for me, I never thought I would like electric cars, but it's starting to grow onto me to the point where I might invest in one. And Tesla still has my heart and mind. But when I'm starting to see these other manufacturers coming with this longer range and the car still looking nice, I'm starting to actually maybe doubt. I say that, and then here comes another Tesla 3. Anyway, and the fact of the matter is, I find that this car drives very well. I don't, for road noise, yes, I play music or podcasts or talks, and I don't get to hear. But even now, as we speak, you don't hear that much, and I have to admit, it's pretty good. And I didn't realize, when they were comparing the new Tesla Model 3 and how they need to have better sound insulation, I'm like, okay, so people do really, because now that there's no engine here, there's no exhaust sound, it's just the whirring noise of this electric motor you hear when a car, especially when it goes on slow. Now, speaking about electric, the Kia has a better regen than the Citroen. Citroen, believe it or not, because I think they just kind of retrofitted that car. It's a funky looking car, nice, full of toys. But then this Kia, it has the one pedal movement, so you just release the accelerator and it slows down while it regens the battery. So that's why I've actually enjoyed these long, how would you say, trips, because I haven't had to, if I want to stop now, I stop for coffee, or if I need to go for a toilet break. Whereas before, I had to stop because the car needed to stop. And what you don't realize when you are taking this stop to charge your car, it may take 30 minutes if you use a fast charger to charge your car, but you might have to wait 30 minutes to wait in queue because a few people are there waiting. And that is my concern for the UK. And why I say that is that the UK was built on diesel. I remember years ago when I was working in the good old days of accounting, where in tax they would give an incentive if you had a diesel car, and suddenly they just switched in the last couple of years. And now London's going through some very insightful moment to wonder if they're going to survive this ULEZ. But that's a different topic for a different day. So now let's go back to the element of the infrastructure. If everyone had an electric charger at home, there wouldn't be an issue. But when you are stuck and you're depending on the public highway charging, that is where the problem will start. And in other countries like China, which is like #1 manufacturer of EV cars, they build their country based. I was having a good chat with a friend of mine who's not very pro electric vehicle, and he made a very good argument. He said, look, China built this with the intention of making their car all electric. Whereas the UK, if tomorrow everyone said, let's switch to electric, the place will just stop. Because you need to realize one thing. When you got used to the petrol world, if you with one of these breakdown companies, your RAC or AA, and your car breaks down, what's gonna happen? You can call down. I mean, when I say breakdown, it says you run out of fuel. What's gonna happen? Oh, you get to call them up. They'll come. They'll bring you a little £5 and charge you. Now, what happens if you are not an organized driver and you run out of juice? Yes, the car may warn you 20 miles. You're like, yeah, whatever. This car can do it. Then you find yourself. Are there companies out there that will come out? There might be a market for it, but at the end of the day, when it really comes down to it, I don't think the infrastructure is here yet in the UK. So I have a feeling that will be a problem. Now, excuse me. I wish I had some water here. But anyway, one thing I love about electric, when you put your foot down, it can pick up to the point where, you know, a gray silver fox man like me, I like looking at certain BMWs thinking like, can I take you on? Even though I'm just an electric Uber looking car, you know. But that's the thing that's actually you know, really cool about electric. No lag, just instant acceleration, and that's the thing that's why a lot of people do enjoy it. And now, even if you think about it, it doesn't just apply to the Tesla world, but it really applies to any electric car. It can like, you know, back in the days, people used to flex on oh, my car can do sub 6 seconds. Most electric cars can do that. So I don't see where the whole flex is. Whereas the flex for electric cars are the ones who do sub 4 seconds. That for me is like, you know, racing territory. But the thing is that I do like, and this is why I actually think Kia will keep on upping their game, because they've said, you know what, let's win their hearts and their minds, and people will start buying this. And this is where Tesla, you know, like I always call Tesla more like a how would you say, an apple. You know, you hate or you love it. You're either part of the Android or you're either an apple. So Tesla is a bit like that. People love the guy, Elon Musk. You know, he's a bit of a unique character, but I do respect him for what he's achieved so far and how he's done it without actually, you know, selling himself in the process. But saying that, when it comes down to it, you find people buy Teslas just because of him, and then they have your anti-Teslas. But we're not talking about Tesla here, we're talking about Kia. And what I can definitely say with my hand on my heart, I really enjoy it. It's not the prettiest looking car, don't get me wrong, and that's why I'm happy they've changed their design, but it is one of the most functional and comfortable car that I've had. So I'm right now coming to the National Express, which is one of the main electric hubs, and there's already a queue. So yeah, as you can see, the infrastructure I was just mentioning, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And that's the thing that makes you wonder, did I make the right choice? Luckily, I'm just renting, so I'm good. But other people, and what I'm gonna do is that as I slowly park, you guys can see, oh, there's quite a few. I think I'm gonna have to come back another time. Yep, definitely. Is he electric? Yep, he's electric. That's what I like about it. The little green plates, you can see who's electric and who's not. So anyway, I think it's a good point for me to end this nice little review of the Kia Niro. Oh, this is the long range version, and I chose that simply because I wanted to have the ability to drive up and down the UK without any stress. And what I do recommend people, before you make your purchase, please, even if it's like, you know, like for example, this company, they give you minimum 2 months subscription, you have to rent. I would go for it. I would have gone for the Tesla if I was seriously considering buying a Tesla, and it's not cheap, but at the same time, one thing I do like about it, it gives you that peace of mind that, hey, before I make this purchase, let me make sure I want to do it. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. Gonna get myself some caffeine. It's been a pleasure driving this car, and it's also been a pleasure talking about this car. Till the next time, you take care. Peace and love. Hey.